We mourn the death of a Nuggets legend. We ponder how much the Nuggets need Spencer Jones. We put Jamal Murray on a DEFCON watch, and we try to fix the Nuggets defense. All that and more on Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day, being a part of our community, and making us your first listen Monday through Friday. We do appreciate each and every one of you joining us, whether you're listening to us on podcast, where you can find us wherever you get podcasts for free, as well as at youtube.com/LockedOnNuggets. We also appreciate those of you that have chosen to be part of our Everydayers Club. You get scouting reports, you get in-depth analysis on where the money goes, you get Ryan's rotations, you get access to our Discord where you can ask us questions, oftentimes stuff that I will provide more context and detail on things that I don't have time for on any other platform regarding where the Nuggets are at. And we are active in there and respond to your questions. Make sure to check it out at lockedonnuggets.supercast.com. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. My name is Matt Moore. I've been covering the Denver Nuggets as a credentialed reporter for 14 seasons, joined by Ryan Blackburn in his seventh or ninth season, somewhere in there. Eighth. Which call it eighth?
6, 7.
For Mile High Sports, you can catch his work at the Pickaxe and Roll podcast, as well as he is at every Nuggets game alongside me. On today's show, we'll try and fix the Nuggets defense. I'm going to ask Ryan about Jamal Murray and a little bit of some concerns I might have about his game and how it's sliding in the season. And we're going to talk about Spencer Jones, but I want to start off by extending our condolences from the Locked On Nuggets crew and community to Doug Moe's family after the death of the legendary head coach. Doug Moe of the Denver Nuggets coined the term Denver Stiffs. Obviously, like, that was a hugely influential site. Ryan's written for denverstiffs.com. Adam was there as well. Like, that site had a lot of history, and Doug was like an integral part of Nuggets history. Coach for 10 years, second most wins as coach in the NBA behind Michael Malone. 432 and 357, a 548 record, 9 straight postseason appearances, coach of the year, an absolute icon, built the identity of the Nuggets as a fast-paced team in altitude. And it's a real shame because everyone I know around the organization that ever talked about Doug absolutely loved him. It didn't really matter who you were, players, coaches, staff, everyone. No one ever had anything bad to say. Everyone loved Doug Moe.
Man, you're gonna make me sad. I'm already sad. I've been sad all day just hearing about this news and understanding what it means for the Nuggets community. Michael Malone, when he won the final game that got him over the hump for winningest coach in history, still credited Doug Moe as the greatest coach in Nuggets franchise history. I don't want to get into all of that, but what it does mean to me is that, like, Doug Moe made a major impact on all of the coaches. Whether it was Malone, whether it was George Karl, he actually sat on the bench. He came out of off the retirement side of things and back into coaching for George Karl as an assistant coach for 5 years. He was a mentor to Larry Brown. He was massive to everybody within the Nuggets organization. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, everybody around him speaks glowingly of him. Every single person. He's affectionate. He's somebody who shows and cares and wears his heart on his sleeve. It's why, in some ways, Michael Malone wears his heart on his sleeve in so many ways. He took after the big coach himself, Doug Moe. And, like, honestly, it's tough sometimes when you run into a team like the Showtime Lakers. Doug Moe was the coach throughout the entire 80s decade. And that was when Magic and Kareem were on the same team at the same time, coached by Pat Riley. But the Nuggets gave them hell. And it was very impressive what Doug Moe was able to do coaching Alex English, Fat Lever, guys of that nature. And he will always have a place in Nuggets culture, undoubtedly.
Couple quotes from Doug Moe. Success depends on players who are dedicated to the passing game. Just go out there, have a good time, run around like a chicken with your head cut off, make those stiffs run and chase you on defense a little bit, and you too can win a few games. We win Coach of the Year. He said, I didn't really want it, but now that I've won, it's nice. It's an honor. It's nice to know people don't think you're a total idiot.
He and Nikola Jokic would get along so well, man. They would get along so great. It's so amazing.
So, our condolences to his wife and family on the passing of the great Doug Moe. Spencer Jones is as yet unsigned, and there today popped up the little thing of, hey, the Nuggets have been without 14 players for so long that they are now up against it. They will have to sign a player tomorrow in order to fulfill requirements. What's the punishment? Is it a fine?
Actually, that's a good question. It's something mandatory. Otherwise, you will get fined. So you're actually losing money if you do not sign somebody, if that's the case. I got to imagine that this gets done either Wednesday or Thursday, which is the official deadline.
Yeah, and they could, if they've got a buyout candidate, they can agree to him, and that would get them out of that and buy them more time. I'm sure Spencer's agent is slow rolling this to apply as much pressure as possible to try and get the best deal for his client. I want to ask you though, this question.
Yeah.
How much does Spencer matter for the stretch run in the playoffs? And I know that AG's still out a month. I get that. Or at least 3 weeks. How much do you think, like how on a scale, we're going to do a lot of 1 to 5 stuff tonight with the DEFCON. On a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 is like, they cannot win a championship without Spencer Jones. And 1 is, it does not matter if he's available or not. Where are you on how important Spencer Jones is?
So it's actually, this is a really great question because it takes into part the time value of what he's going to provide while guys are out as well. So I'm going to say it's probably closer to 2.5 as opposed to like in the 3.5, 4 range. Spencer's a really important piece. He's a really good defender. He's somebody that plays with effort and size and physicality, and underrated. Like he's actually somebody that David Adelman trusts to play the 4 and to play in those situations and to just execute the defensive scheme of what they're trying to do. Clearly in the games that they've missed him, he has, they felt the absence for sure. And while Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson are out, you kind of need somebody. You can't just have Cam Johnson playing the 4, Christian Brown playing small ball 4, unless they decide that they'd like to unearth Zeke Naji from the bench. Like they need somebody. So in order to win enough games over the course of this upcoming 3-week stretch, I do think they need him. But in terms of later on, probably not as much.
I think it's a 4.
Wow.
I
mean, you're the big Spencer Jones guy.
Well, I'm a big Spencer Jones guy, but I'm also the AG guy. So I have to be just honest about the possibility. Like, look, AG might suffer another injury and miss the playoffs. He might suffer another injury and miss a round. He might suffer an injury and miss game 6. Yeah. And you need to have backup power forwards, and they don't have any.
Yeah.
And, the numbers check out with Jokic and Spencer on the floor. The defense is not good when it's him, Jamal, and Jokic, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's 119. But when Jamal's off the floor, Spencer and Jokic have a 115. That's more than good enough. That's totally great. And it's a plus 7.1 net. He can hit the corner 3 and he rebounds. That's it. Makes defensive plays, hit corner 3s, rebound. That's what you need that. And given their injury situation, they need guys that they know can play. And I think you can walk into a series and be like, I feel confident that Spencer Jones can play in this series. If they face the Lakers, the Clippers, the Suns, like he will not play in like a game 6 of the Western Conference Finals versus the Thunder for more than a handful of minutes if everybody's healthy.
Yeah.
But he also might play extremely valuable minutes in a game 6, like a 5-minute stretch, a 7-minute across two halves. They are not good enough to not have Spencer Jones, which is a concession from me, who has said consistently how great this team is. I got real spooked by the stuff I found this weekend, and I am in a much more, yep, you're going to need all the help you can get here. And so I think Spencer Jones is a 4.
Size, physicality, the corner 3-point shooting is a really big deal. To me, he's one of those classic candidates that in the 5 minutes that he plays in a game 3 or a game 4, or whenever he ultimately is out there, the ball's going to get swung to him at some point. The opposing team's going to dare him to make it, and he's either going to make or miss, and it's going to be backbreaking for one team or the other. So I'm very curious what it's going to be and what it's going to look like. He could either make them and be the absolute hero for the Nuggets in some of those moments, but he also is going to provide value outside of that, which is where you're getting to. And so I completely agree that he is mandatory in some ways, especially if Aaron misses.
I cannot wait for him to hit 4 threes and for the opposing fans to be like, how is this guy with this shot hitting these shots? This is ridiculous. While I'm on Twitter being like, actually, he's actually 41% shooter from 3 point this year. And then post game, somebody asking him, Spencer, how do you feel about your shot? And like, how does it feel to kind of become a shooter? Like a TV person will ask that, and I will be very bothered.
Or Ryan, or Ryan will.
I'm not digging at you. Your question was completely valid. You're just asking the general one. Coming up, I want to talk to Ryan about Jamal. I pulled some numbers that I think are extremely interesting, and we're going to get into it coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting there. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Getting the right people is going to be huge for your organization. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. Going through the process with repeated hires when you can't find the right person is a real drag, and it's annoying and frustrating. Avoid that with sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast, Locked On Nuggets. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. We're also brought to you today by TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. I work in media, which is extremely unreliable. So I have lots of 1099 jobs throughout my life, which means I've needed to find every deduction available, which is why I get help from TurboTax. Their ability to find the exact deductions for my work and ask me questions about, oh, do you do this? What about this? To get the information that I need, and I get to answer it on my timeline with the app. It's absolutely phenomenal. You're going to get updates right in the TurboTax app on where your filing is. It's a huge time saver, and it gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets. Thanks for joining us and making us part of your day. Make sure to join up for the Everydayers Club at lockedonnuggets.supercast.com. We're going to start doing some mini pods on there. They're going to be exclusive for listeners. You're going to see them in your feed, but only be able to access them if you're an everydayer. So make sure to check that out, as well as you get my scouting report on every single Nuggets game, breakdown on the opponent. We're going to do all sorts of cool stuff. It's really cool. You're going to enjoy it. Make sure to sign up at lockedonnuggets.supercast.com. All right, Ryan. So I wanted to talk about Jamal.
Okay.
Who I'm not like, this is like it's a DEFCON check, but like I will rule out a 2 or lower. He's been phenomenal this year. He's first time All-Star, in line for All-NBA. Last 6 games since Joker returned, 25 points per game. Pretty good. Okay. 43% from the field, 28% from 3, 9.2 assists still. Turnovers crept up to 1 point, or still pretty low at 1.8. So not bad there. You do kind of see this drop off in the efficiency as the season goes along. So games 41 to 50, which is that stretch when Joker was out and he was carrying, he was shooting 50% from the field, 39% from three, 85% from the line. Now in the last 51 to 60 games, he's at 46, 31, 94. He's done a good job of keeping the turnovers down for the most part, but did not look great going into the All-Star break. Obviously did not look awesome in the All-Star game. I don't really care about that. I just don't care. But I care about it to the extent that, hey, if he didn't look good before and then he didn't like, oh, wow, he was like dominated the All-Star game. It's just like, okay, we don't have a counterpoint there. Do you have any sort of concerns about Jamal and the exhaustion that the last month has taken on him before I get into a much more nuanced question about this?
Macro, no. Micro, yes. I do think that, like, we know who Jamal is over the course of the season, and what he has shown up until this point has been basically, okay, this is what he is in the later seasons. This is what he is usually. And he just brought that to the beginning and brought that effort from the get-go and has really leveled up his game and put himself into like all NBA top 10, borderline top 10 consideration. It's been really, really impressive. As you mentioned, it's been like the last 6 games, and basically ever since Joker came back, they've had some really tough matchups. Obviously, during that stretch, he's had some tough assignments. They, like, whether it's opposing teams hunting him during that stretch as a defensive option, or him being the target of some opposing defensive mastermind on the other side of things. The Nuggets canceled practice earlier today. I don't know why, but wouldn't surprise me if they're like, hey, you guys need that little extra, a few hours on the beach, a few hours you're staying out there in LA. Maybe we'll just have you stay out there in LA. Keep relaxing, keep calm. Don't like stay off your feet. Wouldn't be surprised if that was directed at Jamal as well, where he clearly has needed, like, he's earned the All-Star break and earned that time. And I hope that he gets the rest that he deserves. But in the intermission here, like, who knows? Who knows what he's ultimately going to look like when he comes back? Maybe he'll be rested. Maybe he'll be a little rusty.
I started joking about this at on both of the last 2 home games of, is Jamal Benjamin buttoning this season, where usually he starts off very slow and not great and then has an awesome January and then finishes pretty well. And then this year he starts off awesome and is incredible and makes an all-star team and then slowly slides off. I was like, are we reversing the pattern here? And it was mostly just like a fear-driven joke. Sure. I'm really hoping that's not the case. I can't do another postseason of like, well, it's conditioning. I just can't do it. I can't. Like, he's been so awesome this year, and he's had so much thrown at him. I'm just like, I really want things I want him to finish the season strong.
His legs, I do think, are like, it's pretty noticeable when he's not moving and as jittery and glitchy as he normally is. And he hasn't been like that over the course of these last few games. It has felt like he's carrying a backpack on his back over the course of this time. So hopefully that involves a little bit of rest. It involves a little bit of recovery, and that's all that really matters. I hope it's not a larger thing.
Okay, now I want to ask you this.
Okay.
In the course of our conversations with Jamal when he was the guy when Joker was out, one of the things that he mentioned was playing more first quarter minutes and how much he liked that, because he got to develop a rhythm. Like, he actually got to, like, not just feel like he needs to start off hot and actually nail some things. He can settle into it, take some more shots, find his rhythm, and play better. Yeah. So I actually pulled the stats. I always think of this as in the office joke. We actually sat down and did the math. I actually sat down and did this. And I looked at when Jamal plays more than 10 minutes in the first quarter versus when he doesn't play more than 10 minutes in the first quarter versus his overall numbers. And I found this pretty notable. When he plays less than 10 minutes in the first quarter, he averages 25.4. He averages 26 points when he plays more than 10 minutes in the first. So, all right, 0.6 points, whatever. Higher usage with Joker out. Okay. The efficiency is what really caught me here. He shoots 48% from the field and 43% from 3 when he plays for the full game. When he plays more than 10 minutes in the first quarter. So when he's on that rotation, most of, if not all, the first and third. Okay. When he doesn't do that, so in the stagger minutes, His 2-point percentage goes up to 54, which makes sense because he's usually playing with Joker. But the 3-point percentage drops all the way to 37%, 43 versus 37%. The overall shooting efficiency is about the same because of a free throw differential. But the 3-point stuff, I think, is actually pretty interesting. He does shoot more threes and makes more when he plays that first 10 minutes.
One of the things, and this is anecdotal, and I'm sure it's probably backed up by the numbers, but one of the things that I notice is that often when the usual rotation is for him to come out, but he's catching fire, he's hot, they want to let him run, they let him cook. That involves him getting up more shots. He goes on a Murray flurry, and then he finishes with 15 points in the first quarter or whatever it is. And you've already established, hey, you're 3 of 4 from 3 going into that after that first quarter. You've already put yourself into that position. Oftentimes when he is staggering, it's like the reason that doesn't happen, and the reason that he doesn't stay out on the floor is because he's getting 1 shot from 3 or 2 shots from 3, or not getting as involved in the offense. Maybe he's more of a facilitator in that stretch, and other guys are scoring, so the coaches let those guys run. So this doesn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. I actually think this is really salient analysis. I'm not sure if it's because he is running in the first. I wonder if it's more so the coaches are reading how he's playing and then allowing that to dictate the rest of the game. I would love to ask, and maybe we should ask David Adelman to see whether that's part of the analysis or if it's just something that's preordained for what he's going to do with them.
And I don't know what to do here because Joker clearly wants to play his rotation, which is all the first, all the third, rest of the beginning of the second and fourth, probably for the same reasons that he gets to settle in. But I am kind of like, man, I don't know. Like, if we're talking about like what's best for the team here, I kind of think that like Jamal should play the full and Joker should stagger. And I know that people didn't like that because of how it ended in, was it the Cavs game, I guess. But the problem with that is like he was on a minutes restriction. If you just like don't have him on a minutes restriction, you could still just play in the last 6 minutes of the quarter.
Yeah, like you don't actually have to rest him at that point. You could just play him the final 12. And if you set the table so that you know you're going to do that, he knows he's going to do that, then it's fine. Like that allows him to play all 12 minutes of, and the stretch that Jamal doesn't play if he plays all 12 minutes of the third quarter. So I'm fully with you. I think that they should be staggering those guys and making sure that all of these other rotations are still like acknowledged and realized. You do not just want to lock in Jokic Murray 2-man game for 36 minutes a night. That is not the way you're going to win a championship to me.
One more note on this. He averages 8.2 assists versus 6.8 when he plays 10 plus. Fine. More usage, Joker out. Again, yeah. I get it. But the turnovers also go down.
It's wild.
He averages 2.1 versus 2.5. And you're like, that's only is a 0.4 turnover? Yes. Yes. Almost a half a turnover is a big deal. Yeah. Across those games, that's a big deal. So it's a really interesting conversation point. We'll see. I'm at a 4 with Jamal. Not really worried.
Is this DEFCON?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're going like high is good.
High is good.
Okay. I will go DEFCON 4 if that's the case. And
5 is everything is 5. 1 is nuclear war is imminent.
Yeah, I switched that with Spencer Jones. Yeah, that's it's not awesome.
You need to watch War Games. It's a very old movie. You'd like it.
I have watched War Games. I'm just an idiot, Matt.
Well, me and the idiot will be back in a minute. We're going to talk about the defense and whether or not it can be salvaged because I have some concerns now. We'll talk about that coming up on Locked On Nuggets. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. You use your profit boost on any NBA future, Jokic MVP, Nuggets to win the title, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. You can bet Conference Finals MVP, and you can actually parlay them. I enjoy doing that. A couple of years ago, I hit Jaylen Brown and Luka on a parlay, and boy, did that go banana cakes. I would actually consider Jokic, Donovan Mitchell to be a pretty good one over at FanDuel. Now, Not only can your pick cash, but it can also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We'll be right back on Locked On Nuggets. Back here on Locked On Nuggets, final segment here on a Tuesday. No jinx. Glad to have you guys with us. So I want to give Ryan Blackburn a lot of credit here. We had a debate about what the defense actually was, because the first 12 games of the season, they were number 2 in defense with Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun. And then Aaron gets hurt, and then Christian gets hurt, and the whole thing falls off a cliff. And they are, what are they ranked? 23rd, 27th?
They're now 24th overall, 24th. But basically 27th since that stretch.
Yeah, it's bad. And I don't need to tell you that if you're watching the show, you know the defense has been terrible. But in the stretch of time, I was like, look, they're going to get those guys back healthy, and all the data says that they're fine, because they did. Like, the data shows that they were fine with it. And Ryan, to his credit, was like, I just don't believe in it. And I was like, yeah, but if I adjust for 3-point luck, it's still holds up that, like, they're still pretty good defensively with like a 113. Should be okay. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Well, I sat down again and did the math this weekend for a post I did on the Denver Dig. You can subscribe to it at thedenverdig.com. And oh man, it's bad. So here's, like, I will run down the gist of it, and I'm not going to give you a lot of numbers, because if you want to read the numbers, go read the article.
And you should read the article. It was very good, folks.
Here's the reality of it. They gave up worse shots with AG and Christian, and the opponents just shot worse. So I don't care about if it's like they just shot, if it's just like they shot worse, I don't care, because I'm like, well, you can just give really good contests. But the problem is there's like a notable differential. It's flipped with Spencer Jones and Peyton Watson on, which is basically the non-AG Christian Braun minutes.
Yeah.
With those guys on, they allow fewer unguarded shots and force more guarded catch and shoot shots. With AG and Christian, it's the opposite, but the opponent shot flipped, where they missed on open looks, and then versus Spencer and Peyton, they made the contested ones. You combine that with this other element, which is to me is this is like the big one in the room, Ryan. If you're not familiar with the numbers, you're aiming for about a 115. If you've got a 115, you're winning. The Nuggets are going to put up a 117 plus offensive rating against any offense in the world, including
OKC.
If you're above 120, you're in real danger. If you're below 115, you're doing awesome. If you're below 110, you're elite. Murray and Jokic without Aaron Gordon, when Aaron Gordon does not play, okay? Murray and Jokic all over, like just combined, they allow a 120 when they play zone. When AG is not out there, it goes to 137. They give up a 137 defensive rating in zone with Jamal and Nikola when AG's not out there. Yikes. And the reason I looked at that number, so this is the way that I choose to do this whole process, is I watched the film and was like, what's going on? I tracked down all the possessions where they were giving up points with Jamal and Nikola. I was like, what's the problem? And so many of them were just like massive breakdowns in zone. And some of it's not Nikola's fault or Jamal's fault. Some of it's like they don't close on the corner well enough and they allow the flash to the middle. You're dead. You're dead. It's over. Like you've given up the flash to the middle and you have a guy in the dunker spot with empty side. There's nobody there. There's nobody. Jamal can't make that rotation to stop a guy dunking. He can't do it from the weak side. Can't do it. But a lot of these are just like, you will go through this and be like, Jamal gets hung on a screen. Joker doesn't make an attempt on the ball. Joker doesn't make an attempt on the ball. Joker's slow to rotate.
It's just something after something after something. And it's the sequence of things that they often have happen in this stretch that it doesn't necessarily look like it's any one person's fault. People will obviously ascribe it to Denver's worst defenders in that case. And to be honest, it's probably true. Like Jokic probably deserves most of the blame. Murray probably deserves the second most amount of blame for why they are in that position in the first place, because they want to play zone. because they can't really play man. And then some of the stuff that's a real issue when they play man is like, okay, well, they're attacking Jamal and they're attacking Nikola and they're attacking these guys over and over again. I find, Matt, and this is not as much of an issue, Christian Braun overhelps an extensive amount. Jamal Murray overhelps an extensive amount. These guys do not want to leave each other on an island. They don't want to leave Joker or Jonas or whoever it is. If you feel like they're in a compromised situation, you do not want to leave them on an island. But you can't just give up your guy. You can't you can't give up your responsibility in order to try to save somebody else, because it's not your job, man. Like, it's just not. So,
so here's the thing. I think you can if the results back up that you can, but the results don't back up that you can. And I'm going to get questions about like, what about, so results matter instead of process here. So here's the idea. Their defense would be, I'm not going to leave my teammate out there. The guy's going to get a layup. And my response would be, let them get a layup. Like, see if your guy can manage to recover and stop that guy. Because what you're doing now is you're overhelping and they're getting corner threes every time. And if they're not, it's because you're helping high and then they're getting backdoor cuts.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting killed on both ends.
And they don't have and this is why Aaron Gordon, Christian Braun, Spencer Jones, and Peyton Watson matter so much, because they're the only guys that can really range and recover in that regard. Bruce Brown's not going to do that. Tim Hardaway's not going to do that. The small guys and the big guys are not going to do that.
5555-ish, the legend, says, so question, if we think this is the best team in the Jokic era, including the 2023 team, why is the defense this bad? I will tell you that if I looked at the clips and was like, it's Cam Johnson or it's Christian Braun or it's Peyton Watson, I would tell you. I would just be like, yeah, I looked and this is a problem. It's not. The problem very literally is that Nikola and Jamal are worse than they were in 2023. Now, I want to be super clear on this. If you take Jokic's numbers and you look at them versus top 10 opponents, all of a sudden, all of his defensive numbers, whoop, shoot up. They get better.
It's insane. It's the biggest big game merchant of all time.
Yes. Like, it is very literally, if you want like, okay, Matt, I need some hope here. I need some copium. That's it. It's, look, he is saving his energy. And a lot of his fans will say he's saving his fouls. He's not saving his fouls. He's saving his energy.
He wants to give more fouls. He should be giving more fouls.
He's saving his energy. And they can get by because if you look at the record, like, again, they're third in the Western Conference.
Yeah, with this defense.
And so the thing is just like, very literally, have they reached a point where it's not can their defense flip a switch collectively? It's can Nikola and Jamal flip a switch? Is their highest effort level capable of getting them to a point where they don't have to be great defensively? They don't need to be like, man, best defense in the play. No. You just need to be good enough so that your offense can outsolve the opponent's defense, which they have the ability to with their size and physicality, athleticism, and shooting. So a lot of this, yes, by the way, you have a fan, Ryan Blackburn fan says, also KCP was very good.
So much there. Good Lord.
Also KCP was very good in 2023. He was awesome. He was a great over screen defender.
Yeah.
They do have other things I think that they're a little bit better at. And it's like, there's give and take. Okay. But for this stretch run, like, the number one thing has got to start with game plan discipline and a higher level of effort, particularly in defending and pick and roll drop. That's going to have to be end zone. Like, they just got to clean this stuff up. They got to clean this stuff up. Now, I'm using synergy numbers, and I'm pretty sure that if I ask Adam about it, he's going to be like, actually, our numbers say our zone's pretty good. So we'll see. But I could talk for hours about this. I probably will do some more bonus shows about the defense over the coming week. But I want to kind of get this out there as like laying the groundwork for what you're going to need to see from the Nuggets for the rest of the way.
I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be an interesting stretch. The guys who I'm really circling right now are Christian Braun and Peyton Watson when he comes back. I want to see what those guys can do in adding to the defensive like tempo. Like, Christian has talked about how it's on him. He's assumed that responsibility. Okay, if it is, then you need to be better. Like, you just do. And there's ways that you can do it. There's other guys that have to be involved and other guys that have to be better too. But he can raise the temperature in the room, and so can Peyton Watson from an athleticism standpoint. If they just get back everybody healthy, I want to see what they do against these top 10 offenses, because there's going to be a lot of them, Matt. They're going to see a lot of them.
Ninyu says, any news on AG and PWatt? No news. Don't expect any news for another 2 weeks. We'll let you know.
I mean, the timelines would basically say that Peyton Watson comes back around March 1st and Aaron comes back soon after that. I don't know if you can trust the timelines. I'll say that.
Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys being with us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. I think Swipe is doing a show tomorrow. If not, we'll be back for Swipe and Gripe on Thursday at 2:00 Mountain. And then we'll be back in action as the Nuggets return to action versus the Los Angeles Clippers and Kawhi Leonard on Thursday night. Make sure to follow Ryan Blackburn and his work. Check out his work at Mile High Sports. You can check out the Denver Dig. Catch me on Locked On NBA Daily. We'll see you guys again next time. Thanks for joining us on Locked On Nuggets. 1:30. It's not good.
Good Lord. I
don't like the zone. I don't